What's going on, everyone? Austin John Place here, and today I'm going to be talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and which league officials / trainers and which classes are worth it. See, now, I have a very debilitating disease that it's not infectious, don't worry. It's called being a completionist. And this causes me to spend an excessive amount of time doing individual things in individual games and learning what the outcomes are. And apparently, some people like that. And I just completed my third playthrough of the game, but I took a poll, and it turns out that 42% of people on YouTube and Twitter are still in the beginning of the game. Let's say 60% are in the beginning to mid game and 40% are in the end game or post game. So let's talk about what specific side quests and optional things are actually worth your time, while time is an important resource. First, I would like to talk about the individual classes that you can take in this game. The Naraja and Uva Academy allow you to take a variety of classes by speaking to this man over here, and you're going to be able to take biology, math, history, battle studies, art, home economics, and languages. To fully complete most of these classes, you have to have 6, 7, or 8 gym badges in total to be able to actually do some of these things. So you can do a little bit of it now, that way it's not so daunting later on. I've already covered languages class, which after completing languages class and speaking to Salvatore 4 times outside of class, he's going to be giving you a Galarian Meowth, the only one in the game, and you can breed it down and everything else like that, which is great. But what about the rest of these classes? What are the cool things that you get for that? I'm happy you asked, everyone who decided to click on this video. First, biology. I don't think that there's actually a reward for biology. Instead, when you go to the computer, you could just go to where Jacques is, which is the biology lab. After registering 30 Pokemon in your Pokedex, if you speak to him, you get 3 TMs for a false swipe. After registering 100 Pokemon, you get some balls. They're either Ultra or Quick, I forgot. I think you get like 20 of them. And after completing 400 Pokemon, you get the Shiny Charm. Oh, and about biology, they teach you some basics about shiny Pokemon, but I've covered all that in previous videos. In math is actually a pretty nice story about the math teacher who is the sister of the Ghost-type gym leader. And it actually kind of ties in the story a little bit of Team Starfall. So once you're complete with Team Starfall, doing the math classes will actually help paint a little bit better of a picture to exactly the events that transpired a year and a half ago. One thing about the math though, this actually teaches you a lot of specific mechanics about the game, and super effective moves being multiplied with quad effective moves being multiplied by critical hits, being multiplied by Terra types. There's actually math involved. It's a fun lesson, especially if you enjoy math like I do. And the final gift that you get for that is 50 rock-type Terra shards, which are going to be used to change your Pokemon's Terra type at the restaurant of the normal gym. History is by far one of the most interesting classes. History class teaches you about the history of the Paldean region, the Paldean Empire, which was established 2,000 years ago, the gifts that were given to the Paldean Emperor, and how they turned out to be curses of ruin, which leads to the 4 sub-legendary Pokemon of the game. There's a lot of detail about it. It's written exceptionally well, and you get fast travel points for those crazy mysterious portal things that you've probably experienced in the game that require the Black Ominous Stakes that, I don't know, maybe 40% of you are ready for. So let's address that back in about a week. But you could get the fast travel points now. Battle Studies gives you 10 bottles of protein. I have not completed this. I looked up that information. Art gives you 50 Dragon Terra shards. I actually haven't done art class yet. I can't speak to it at all. Home ec I thought had to do with sandwiches, so I immediately did it first. It does not really have to do with sandwiches. You get to learn a little bit about sandwiches and specifically what flavors are used for like finding eggs and things like that. And the very end of it requires you to give a sweet Herba Mystica, which requires you to complete 5-star raids of specific Pokemon species, in order to get a sweet Herba Mystica to give it to Mr. Jacques. I'm just gonna tell you, make sure you do something more important with that sweet Herba Mystica. Once you have some extra sweet Herba Mystica, yeah, give him that. But if you only have one and you need it for something important, or you could give it to Mr. Jacques, do not give it to Mr. Jacques. You can speak to the director a few times throughout the game to establish a close bond with him, and all of that text only after you have completed Operation Starfall. You're rewarded with a big nugget. Likewise, all the things I said, nurse's office, you complete Victory Road, you get 10 max revives. If you consider any of those rewards worth it, definitely check out those classes. Now it's gonna be time for the doozies, the heavy hitters, the big kahunas, the mountains to overcome. These guys. These are the league officials that are going to appear at 15 different areas throughout the Paldean region. And all of them give very specific rewards. A lot of them you can just go buy. So if you want to be a completionist and speak to them to get rid of the yellow bubble so that it turns to a white bubble, cool. After completing one of these, and it turns to a white bubble, you could talk to him, and he says, thanks for taking part in our challenge. And that's it. I have not seen any additional rewards from these people. I don't think that there are. All of them give various rewards. Which ones are actually worth it? Great question. The League official in South Province Area 5 that I don't know if I found it yet, is going to give you an Eviolite that you can buy in a store. The Dalizapa Passage is going to give you an Expert Belt that you could buy in a store. The Porto Manerada is going to be giving you a Focus Sash that you could buy in a store. The East Province Area 1 is going to be giving you loaded dice that you could buy in a store. The West Province Area 1 is going to be for a clear amulet. That's going to be this one right here, the north location, which you can buy in a store. And the South Province Area 3 is going to be giving you a shell bell that you could buy in a store. The only one that is actually exclusive to this sort of quest outside of TM's is going to be here in Medali. Got the wrong one? Yep, got the wrong one. Okay, it's on the other side of the street. This guy, who is going to ask you to defeat trainers in the West Province Area 3, you have to defeat 5 trainers, and he's going to be giving you an amulet coin. You cannot buy an amulet coin in stores. You have to get it from this guy. So let's go defeat 5 trainers. This guy thinks their Pokemon is the cutest. Well, I, sir, think your Pokemon is the deadest. By the way, this video is spoiler free except for Tinkaton. If you don't like that, that's Tinkatuff. She's my homegirl. I actually decided to look back, and at this point in Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus, I was actually 7 shinies in, and 4 of them were while I was recording. I'm nowhere near that number. I, for one, think that shinies in the overworld but without the sound is a healthy balance. Golly, I had 2 boxes of shiny birds, bugs, and rocks in that game. To the point that it was, I don't want to say annoying, but I just stopped catching them. Now, I also put, hundreds of hours into that game, so I doubt most people had that same experience. Some people have raised concerns about, what if you're colorblind and things like that. There's some questions about that. The Let's Go feature can only help out so much, right? So if you're colorblind, does the game just look black and white? If you're watching this video and you are colorblind, did literally nothing just happen to the screen? I don't actually understand how this works. I should research this a little bit more before I just randomly ask my YouTube audience. This is also really weird to play the game in black and white. So like Murkrow, who goes from very dark gray to pink, I could definitely, see that as a difference. You know what? I'm keeping this talk up in. Every time I record, I do random little conversations like this, and I very rarely keep it in, just because the video gets very long. And I don't do a walkthrough. Instead, I just do tips and tricks in the same progression that, the average person does a walkthrough. Just to let you know, there's always weird talk-ups like this. I decided to look this up. If you can't see any colors, this is Archometopsia, which is just seeing things in grayscale. And it has to do with red, green, and blue, the 3 different cones in your eyes. And there are people who are green weak, red weak, blue weak, and people that are green blind and blue blind. Actually, you know what? I reached out to some people who responded to one of my tweets that they are colorblind and playing this game. I'm gonna look into this more. I'm gonna circle back on this subject. But for now, I'm just looking for more trainers, and I'm getting really sidetracked. Great, after defeating 5 trainers and researching a lot more on color blindness, hi, I'm the Pokemon League rep. I've defeated 5 trainers, here's my lovely prize, the amulet coin. Nice. There are a few more Pokemon League members that may have specific items that may be useful to you as far as TMs go, and I mean the really good TMs. Between the 3 of my games, I am missing all of these TMs. So I'm starting to think perhaps this is the only way to obtain them. Firstly, the bug town of Cortando, there is the Pokemon League rep who's going to be asking you to battle trainers, and you're going to be getting Aerial Ace. I've gotten Aerial Ace in all my games, and you probably have Aerial Ace too. However, if we make our way to Lavencia, I know that's Iono's town over here, it's probably the southern one. Let's check that out. 5 trainers in Area 2 of East Province. I need to defeat 6 of them. And after defeating the appropriate amount of trainers, you're going to be getting Stomping Tantrum. The fact that you could get the TM for Stomping Tantrum as well as the recipe to craft it again right before taking on the Electric Gym is pretty neat. Stomping Tantrum is base 75 power, 100% accuracy, and if your move the turn before failed, then it doubles the base power, which is pretty neat. This could be used if a Pokemon is afflicted with a status condition and then you try to afflict it again, that move will fail. There's a variety of different situations that Stomping Tantrum will work for exactly that. Do keep in mind that Iono's Ace does have Levitate, so you would need a Pokemon with Mold Breaker to bypass that. The next one is located over here at Cagelocke Lake. And at this watchtower is going to be the Pokemon League rep. He's one of the few that's not located at a Pokemon Center. If I defeat 7 trainers here, I'm going to be getting a lovely prize. Let's knock out 7 trainers. One of the best ways to find wild shiny Pokemon without actively hunting, just walk around more. Instead of fast traveling so much, just ride your bike all over the place and, you know, look at the Pokemon. Honestly, how I got most of my shiny Pokemon, I've only hunted for like 2. The rest of them have just been, hey, I noticed them on my travels. And the more you travel, the more you'll notice them. Oh, I got Solar Beam while I was here. That's pretty awesome. It's located right here on the lake. And with 7 trainers defeated, the TM for Hydro Pump. In my other game, I had this one, but I think I got it in the post game in Area 0. I guess for a lot of people, it'll be a lot more helpful before the post game. The next one I want to talk about is at the Glisado Gym on Mount Glisado. This gentleman here, if you speak with him, you have to defeat 10 trainers and then you could get a lovely prize. That lovely prize is the TM for Blizzard, which is number 143. The next one I want to talk about is located here in Cascarafa at the northern location. This gentleman here is going to want you to fight some trainers in the desert. You have to defeat 5 trainers, come back here, speak with him, and you get the TM for Earthquake, which is a pretty amazing one. There's a sandstorm, and I don't like that. The next one we're going to be going to is here at the North Province Area 1. And here in North Province Area 1, if you speak to this gentleman over here, 6 of them specifically, after you do, you're going to be getting TM 150 for Stone Edge, which is a pretty great move. Making our way into the jungle a little bit at North Province Area 2, this is right next to where the Team Star compound was, the fighting type one. Pretty sure it was the fighting type. I don't know, they're gone from my map now. This Pokemon League representative, he's going to be asking you to defeat some trainers in Area 2 North Province. And after 5 of them, you're going to be getting the TM for Outrage, the very powerful dragon move. And the next one is going to be here at Alfornada. Guys, I'm really trying on these names here. I feel like there's no way to talk about these towns without throwing at least a little bit of Spanishy on them. And this guy over here, if we go ahead and we talk with him, you need to defeat trainers in Area 6 of the South Province, and after 7 of them, you're going to be getting the TM for Flare Blitz, the very powerful recoil fire type move. As you probably noticed, these last few, I didn't really go around and battle all the trainers because honestly, the rant I was telling you before about the colorblind thing, that's actually taken off, and I'm talking to a lot of people about this. This might be a thing. This might be a thing. We can make it a thing, and I think that'd be pretty neat. Also, just a friendly reminder, this game has a little bit of an issue running, as you've probably learned. It turns out that there's a list of bad things that can happen if your game is on, not in sleep mode, for extended periods of time. So I do recommend twice a day if you're doing a 12-hour gaming session, or periodically throughout your playthrough. If the game ever starts acting up a little bit, I definitely recommend going to Mesa Goza, plopping down a hard save, turning the game off, and turning the game back on. Apparently there's a memory leak that can affect some things, including erasing your save data. But that needs to be on for an extended period of time. I typically do because of all the date skipping testing that I have going on, so I haven't experienced anything even remotely similar to that. But just a fair warning, the game starts acting up, you're playing for a long day, at one point you may want to turn the game off, turn it back on, and if you're nowhere near a shiny, definitely turn autosaves back on. Well guys, I hope you found the information helpful on what trainers, Pokemon League officials, and classes are really worth your time. If you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.
Man, they see me shining like I got the charm. Stay strapped, got that jet ball in my palm. Felt from the sky, guess I'm the chosen one. And if you need to know how, check out Austin John. Champion flow, yeah, I got that champion flow.